Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, I'm gonna be honest, this episode wasn't really that great. The best parts about this episode was what was going on with Xander. Xander, Sarah, Ava, and Philip, aka Manchild. The rest of it was just, I mean, we got, in this episode, we got, Claire. Well, Charlie texted Claire, or called, I forgot which one. Actually, no, he called. And he was pretty much asking her out, on another date, since they had a good time on their last date. Really? Since they had a good time on their last date, he was like, you want to go out, tonight or whatever. And she was like, no. And she didn't really sit there and say why. And she hung up the phone or whatever. And, Charlie's sitting up there just bummed out or whatever. Xander comes over. And, Charlie's all like, oh, she dumped me. I'm like, bro, seriously? I'm not even going to sit there and say this guy's another man-child, because I did see him, looking like he was ready to throw down with, Trip, but he seems like he has a little bit of, he seems like he's having some symptoms of, man-child. I mean, dude, just because she didn't want to go out with you tonight doesn't mean that, maybe she's doing something. Maybe she's tired. There's a ton of reasons why. Stop acting like a child and seeming like he's about to get a temper tantrum and break down and start crying because she doesn't want to go out with you tonight. And I can get more into that, but I'm just not going to. So anyway, he's sitting there all bummed out, depressed, and Xander comes over, and, he's like, what's going on? He's all like, oh, she dumped me or whatever, and, Xander was like, well, no, it's just because she's crazy. I mean, her whole gene pool is crazy. Dude, what? I'm like, wow, way to be a dick. He starts talking about Abby, and apparently she has multiple personalities or whatever, and, they talk a little bit or whatever, and next thing you know, Xander pretty much tells, Charlie that, Philip is kind of shady and is up some stuff, and, I can use your help. And since, Charlie's like, listen, you've been helping me out with this whole Claire thing, so I got your back. And, he just pretty much tells him to keep his eye out, if he finds anything strange, out the ordinary, to, let him know. But he's also like, I got somebody, on the case. And then we get to this scene where we got, Sarah pretty much hid his car keys so he can't, drive to work or whatever. And Philip gets a call from Ava, first he's like, he gets on the phone, he's like, what? Ava's like, first of all, you need to adjust that tone. I like this Ava chick. I like her so far. Because she seems like she's very gutsy. And I think that's where Tamara really shines. She's good at playing, very tough and, gutsy kind of characters. She was on GH for a while, playing Carly. And that's a very, ballsy kind of character, so they pretty much picked the right woman for her. Right woman for her character. So anyway, she's like, yo, listen, I'm staying at at this place or whatever, and come and meet me. So, Philip still can't find his keys, and Sarah is more than happy to take where he gotta go, so she can spy on him. As she was telling Xander earlier, I'm gonna keep an eye on him and see what I find. So it's cool, they're working together and stuff like that. They're actually, not fighting and whatever. So this is good. So anyway, Sarah's there tailing him around town, and first stop that he makes is, to talk to Sean. Now Sean is over the moon about marrying Bella. I guess this is the first time that they're actually getting officially married. Apparently I thought they were married, but I guess they're not. Um, anyway, it's the usual argument between Philip and Sean or whatever, except for Sean is like, oh, we're getting married and stuff like that, and they go back and forth, and, Philip is all like, I can take her from you anytime I want. I'm like, okay, sure, I'm pretty sure she would love your man-child qualities over Sean any day of the week. You are, yep, you got this. They go back and forth, back and forth. Now, I'm not gonna lie, again, this episode gets kind of boring because, Bella's over at, Marlena and John's house, happy about the wedding, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't really do the whole shipping or coupling thing, so I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really care that much. But it was nice to actually see John happy, Whenever John is, like, happy or in a good mood or whatever, it's really nice to see. Because he's also been flipping out lately because of that whole, whatever thing that he had going on in his head. So it was nice to see him happy and stuff like that. But other than that, it's kind of boring, not gonna lie. Now, Bella, meets, I guess she sees both of them talking. She's like, what's going on? And, Philip pretty much tattletales on Sean. He was all like, oh, well, he was bragging to my face about y'all getting married. Bro, really? We're tattletaling now? But then again, I'm not too surprised because he's always not there running off the victor, being a damn tattletaler anyway. I'm like, bro, you're, like, how old are you? Like, seriously, it's just so bad. And I'm just like, I'm wondering how does she actually get together with him? And I really want to sit there and start asking this question of what are the good qualities about Philip? Because maybe I'm tuning in on a bad time with him, because I know he was probably on the show way before or whatever. So, like, am I just tuning in on a bad time? Because every time I see him, he's, like, either whining or he's tattletaling or he's just doing something that just makes him come across as a man-child. So I'm just sitting there thinking, what was it that Bella was attracted to you? Like, what made her want to, play mattress tag with you? I mean, I don't, the guy, he doesn't seem like he's a bad-looking guy or anything like that, but, like, those man-child qualities, I mean, I don't. Anyway, after he tattletales on, Sean or whatever, Bella's like, I asked him to marry, I popped the question to him, and, I asked him, Sean was all like, oh, so you want to come to the wedding? Bro, you already got this. Like, why are you, like, it's like kicking a dude when he's down. Why even sit there and throw that out there for? Now, earlier, Bella was sitting there talking about how Sean was feeling insecure, because she was spending so much time with Philip, and I don't really know why, but whatever. I know that they had their time together, and I am still, like, trying to figure out how did that happen. So, they talk a little bit or whatever, and, Philip is like, no, I got other plans or whatever, then he heads off to do his other plans, and Bella and Sean talk, and, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of got a little boring. It really did. All it really was about was Bella was, like, soft chastising Sean for, being all upset with Philip and, throwing it in his face and whatever, but other than that, it didn't really go anywhere, except for crazy Jan Spears just was being a creep, looking at them while they were, like, making out, because that's what she does. Now let's talk a little bit about her. Jane was not there. Her plan involves Claire somehow. She's not there talking to Claire, I guess at some pub or whatever. I feel like I'm missing something. I think the only thing I'm missing was Sean wasn't there talking to Roman today. I think I'm not too sure. I'm not gonna lie. This episode was really boring, and I could have swore that Roman was in this episode, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he was in this episode. I think he was, and they talked, and I don't think it really went anywhere. So, anyway, let's talk about Crazy Jane. So Jane was not there with Claire, and you know she was not there talk. Well, Claire was talking about her date with Charlie, and yada 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 yada. And then she was not saying that you know she couldn't go out with Charlie because she was going to be you know helping the mother out with getting ready or whatever. Now, at first, Claire didn't want to say anything because she felt like it was going to bring up a sore spot with Jane, you know, getting, you know, her parents getting married and everything like that. And then, you know, Jan Spears. I never heard her Jan before. Anyway, Jan Spears or whatever. You know, tries to be, you know, the whole time she's just being very manipulative. I know I'm not saying that right, but you understand what I'm saying. And that's the thing. She's doing this whole thing. She's like, oh, I can't believe you sit there and think that, you know, I'm not well. And, you know, my mental illness is a lot better. And, you know, we got the same thing. And, you know, I would thought that you would understand. And, you know, Claire's all like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, you know what? I don't know which one is worse. The fact that she's sitting there trying to manipulate this woman that's like half her age. Or the fact that Claire is so dumb that she can't understand what she's getting played. And she knows that her, you know, this woman, you know, like her parents, it's a huge enemy to her parents. And yet she's just sitting there just hanging out and being all lollygag or whatever. And just, you know, Bella's like, you know, this woman will sit there and manipulate you. And the whole time she's manipulating her and it's just right over her damn head. So they talk about Charlie, and long story short, she gets Claire to invite Charlie to the wedding. Because at first, you know, Claire is kind of nervous or whatever, and you know, that's when Jan is like, well, you know, if you don't say anything, then he's just gonna think that you don't like him. If he thinks that you don't like him because you didn't go out with him for, you know, one night, then like. You know what, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't really understand what she sees in Charlie. I really don't. The way he overreacted the first time would have been red flags for anyone, but, you know, Claire's a moron, so. Anyway, she gets her to invite Charlie to the party, to the wedding. And then, Claire meets up with, Claire meets up with Charlie, and then Xander, not gonna lie, let's be honest, he was acting like a dick to Claire, you know? He's all like, oh, well, why don't you want to go out with Charlie, and, you know, like, was it not fancy enough, was it not this, what is wrong, you know, are you just using him, yada yada yada, and instead of Claire being like, you know what, I don't need this drama from him, and if that's what you're sitting there thinking, I'm out. But that's what a reasonable person would do. That's what a person with standards would do. Nope, not Claire. Claire is like, oh, I'm so sorry if you thought that. You know, I want to invite you to my parents' wedding. What do you say? And that's pretty much where it ends. And listen, I get it. I feel like Charlie is pretty much the only option for Claire as far as available men, because apparently there's a huge shortage in available bachelors in Salem, which, I'm not gonna lie, I look at it this way. Jan trying to do something to break up this wedding would be very interesting because it causes drama, it shakes things up, and I think that's great for drama purposes. And reality purposes, I mean, come on, seriously, desperate isn't sexy on anyone, okay? And the fact that this woman's been holding a torch to Sean, since high school, like he's the end-all, be-all sort of man, that's just sad and pathetic. Like, what person wants to go out with someone like that? You know, so I'm just like, oh, here we go again, loser Jane from high school that really couldn't find anyone for pretty much her entire life and is still pining over this one person. Like, how sad and pathetic are you? And yeah, that's pretty much what I had to sit there and say about Jan. Now, let's see. Yeah, that's actually pretty much about it. Oh, Philip does actually wind up meeting Ava, and you know, Sarah. I don't know if she saw Ava at the door. She might have saw Ava at the door, or she might have recognized her voice, but she had that shocked look on her face, like, I'm guessing, like, oh crap, she's actually alive? So that's pretty much where it ended off at. So tomorrow should actually be a good episode. I'm not gonna lie, the highlight of this episode was what all the stuff that's going on with Xander and Sarah and Philip and Ava. That was it. The rest of it was really boring. It was boring and it was dumb. Like, the whole Claire and Charlie thing is just stupid. Like, I don't get what she sees in this guy. This guy flips out, every time that, like, something doesn't go his way, and for some odd reason, she just can't see that. The whole Sean and Bella, having their wedding or whatever, talking and being all cutesy, and with Marlena and John and Bella, I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't care. I was like, can we get back to Xander, please? Can we just get back to Xander? Because that's the most interesting part of this episode is Sarah and Xander. And I'm pretty sure Roman was in this episode, and I don't remember, and I just finished watching it. So that pretty much tells you exactly how much not important that was. I mean, unless you are a Roman fan, if you're really old school and you really like his character, then cool. But other than that, oh yeah, they did talk. They did talk. And now I remember, because they were talking about Hope, because apparently they got to sit there and talk about Hope off like screen or whatever. I don't know what they're doing with Hope as a character, because they keep talking about her, but she's not on there anymore. I guess this is going to be the new thing for a while, until either they recast her or they retire the character altogether. Anyway, with that being said, that's going to do it for this review. If I missed anything, I apologize. I don't think everything else is really that important. I don't think everything else is really that interesting. At least that interesting to me. But let me know if you thought any of this stuff was interesting. And if you liked it, let me know what it is. Why not. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I will catch you in the next review.